In the ancient age of the world, deep beneath the roots of the world tree Yggdrasil, there lived the master of the forge named Dvalinn. He was not a mere miner of rocks or a simple shaper of iron. He was the primary architect of the dwarves' most sacred treasures. His domain was Nidavellir, a realm of perpetual twilight where the only sun was the glow of molten gold, flowing through veins of stone. Dvalinn possessed hands that moved with the precision of a clockwork heart, and eyes that could see the hidden songs trapped within raw ore. Every swing of his hammer was a rhythmic pulse that echoed through the caverns, signaling to all spirits that a masterpiece was being born. The air in his workshop was thick with the scent of ozone, burning coal, and the metallic tang of ancient magic. While other dwarves sought gold for wealth, Dvalinn sought it for the secrets it whispered when exposed to the heat of the fire. He believed that gold was the solidified light of the first dawn, captured by the earth and hidden away for those brave enough to find it. One evening, as the subterranean winds howled through the granite halls, Dvalinn felt a strange vibration beneath his feet. It was a call from the deepest stratum of the mountain, a resonance that demanded his absolute attention and mastery. He gathered his tools, chisels of diamond, tongs of dragonbone, and his legendary hammer, the Starbreaker, descending into the lightless chasms where even the bravest dwarves feared to tread. Dvalinn followed the golden melody. He reached a cavern where the walls were not made of stone, but of a shimmering, liquid-like substance that pulsed with a soft amber light. In the center of this chamber stood a pillar of pure, unrefined solar gold, a metal so rare it was said to have been forged in the breath of stars. Dvalinn knew that to touch this gold was to invite either eternal glory or total annihilation, for its power was untamed. He did not hesitate, for the heart of a master knows no fear when confronted with the ultimate challenge of his craft. He began to chant the old songs of the stone, incantations that slowed the vibration of the metal and made it submissive to his will. With a single, calculated strike, he broke a fragment from the pillar, a piece no larger than a human heart but heavier than a mountain. Carrying the glowing prize back to his forge, Dvalinn felt the heat of the metal seeping through his leather gloves, warming his very blood. He stoked his furnace until the flames turned a brilliant violet, a temperature that could melt the resolve of the gods themselves. The gold did not melt easily. It resisted the fire, swirling in the crucible like a trapped storm of light and shadow. Dvalinn realized that this gold required more than just heat. It required a piece of the smith's own essence to become a vessel of power. He closed his eyes and poured his memories of the first snowfall, the sound of the wind, and the strength of the earth into the molten mass. Slowly, the solar gold began to soften, turning into a glowing syrup that danced to the beat of Dvalinn's rhythmic hammering. He was not making a weapon of war, nor a crown for a king, but a talisman of creation itself. Hours turned into days and days into weeks as the master dwarf labored in a trance-like state, forgotten by time. He did not eat, nor did he sleep, for the gold provided all the sustenance his weary body required. The sparks that flew from his anvil were not mere embers. They were tiny sparks of life that flickered briefly before vanishing into the dark. Other dwarves gathered outside his locked doors, whispering of the madness that had surely claimed their greatest brother. They heard the sound of 1,000 bells ringing at once, followed by the low groan of the mountain settling under a great weight. Inside, Dvalinn was weaving threads of gold as thin as a spider's silk, interlacing them with runes of protection and wisdom. He was creating the Sun Spinner, an artifact capable of turning the darkness of the mind into the light of understanding. As the final rune was etched into the surface, the workshop was flooded with a blinding radiance that pierced through the stone walls. The dwarves outside fell to their knees, blinded by the sheer majesty of the light that escaped through the cracks in the door. When the light finally faded, Dvalinn emerged, his beard singed and his skin glowing with a faint, metallic luster. In his hands, he held a disc of gold that seemed to breathe, its surface shifting like the surface of a calm, sunlit pond. "The mountain has spoken," Dvalinn whispered to his kin, his voice sounding like the grinding of tectonic plates. He explained that this gold was not a possession to be hoarded, but a responsibility to be guarded with one's life. Word of the Sun Spinner reached the ears of the Aesir, the gods who dwelt in the high halls of Asgard. Odin, the All-Father, sent his swiftest messenger to negotiate for the artifact, fearing its power in the hands of the untrustworthy. But Dvalinn refused to give it up, claiming that the gods were too detached from the earth to understand the burden of such beauty. "This gold was born of the dark," Dvalinn told the messenger, "and only those who live in the dark can truly appreciate its light." The gods were angered, but they respected the ancient laws of the forge which protected the rights of the mastersmith. However, the greed of the giants was not so easily restrained, and soon the borders of Nidavellir were threatened. Thrym, a giant of frost and fury, led a legion toward the dwarves' stronghold, seeking to claim the Sun Spinner for his own dark purposes. Dvalinn did not call for an army. Instead, he returned to his forge to create one final masterpiece. He took the remnants of the solar gold and forged a set of silver gold chains. imbued with the weight of gravity itself. As the giants hammered at the gates, Dvalinn stood alone in the central plaza, the sun spinner glowing brightly at his chest. Thrym laughed as he broke through the stone, seeing only a single small dwarf standing in his path. "Hand over the star gold, little smith, and I might leave your mountain standing," the giant bellowed, his breath freezing the air. Dvalinn simply smiled, an expression of ancient knowledge that made even the giant hesitate for a fleeting second. He held the sun spinner aloft, and the artifact emitted a pulse of golden energy that turned the very air into a thick, syrupy medium. The giants found themselves moving in slow motion, their massive limbs feeling as heavy as leaden pillars. Dvalinn then threw the silver gold chains, which expanded in midair, wrapping around the giants like the coils of a constrictor. The more the giants struggled, the tighter the chains became, drawing strength from their own frantic efforts to escape. Thrym roared in frustration, but his voice was silenced as the golden light filled his lungs, calming his rage into a state of catatonic peace. One by one, the giants were subdued, not by violence, but by the overwhelming weight of the metal Dvalinn had mastered. The dwarves cheered, realizing that their master had found a way to defend them without spilling a single drop of blood. But Dvalinn knew that the victory came with a price. The sun spinner had exhausted the mountain's core energy. The liquid gold in the veins of the earth began to cool and harden, turning back into ordinary, silent stone. Dvalinn walked back to the deepest chasm, the place where he had first found the solar gold. He looked at the artifact in his hands and realized that its purpose was fulfilled, and to keep it would only invite more conflict. He knelt at the edge of the abyss and offered a prayer to the spirits of the earth, thanking them for the gift of the forge. With a heavy heart, he dropped the sun spinner into the darkness, watching as it spiraled down like a falling star. As it hit the bottom, a final wave of warmth surged through the mountain, ensuring that the dwarves would never truly freeze in the dark. Dvalinn returned to his workshop, but he did not pick up his hammer for many years. He spent his time teaching the younger dwarves the philosophy of the metal, that the smith must serve the ore, not the other way around. He taught them that gold is a mirror. It reflects the greed of the thief and the wisdom of the sage. Legends grew round Dvalinn, saying that he had become part of the mountain himself, his heart beating in the rhythm of the tremors. Some said that if you listen closely to the stone, you can still hear the phantom ring of the starbreaker hitting the anvil. Others claimed that Dvalinn had found a secret path to the roots of Yggdrasil, where he continues to forge the destiny of the world. One day, a young apprentice asked Dvalinn if he regretted throwing away the greatest treasure ever made. Dvalinn looked at the boy with eyes that still held a glimmer of that ancient, golden light. "A treasure is only a treasure if it remains a mystery," he replied, his voice soft yet echoing with authority. "To hold it forever is to become its slave. To let it go is to become its master." The apprentice didn't fully understand, but he felt a sense of peace that stayed with him for the rest of his life. As Dvalinn grew older, his body became more like the stone he loved, gnarled, strong, and enduring. He no longer needed the heat of the furnace to stay warm, for the memory of the solar gold lived within his bones. In his final days, he called the elders of the dwarves to his side for one last message. He told them that a new age was coming, an age of iron and steam, where the magic of the gold would be forgotten by many. "But do not despair," he urged them, "for the light I found is hidden in every soul that seeks to create something beautiful." He gave them his hammer, the Starbreaker, telling them to use it only when the heart of the craft was in danger of breaking. Then, Dvalinn walked into the deepest corridor of his workshop and closed the heavy stone door behind him. No one ever saw him again, and no one could ever open that door. No matter how much strength they applied, the room became a shrine, a place of silence where the spirit of the Master of Gold was said to rest. Centuries passed, and the world above changed beyond recognition. But the legend of Dvalinn remained. It reminded the dwarves that they were not just laborers, but guardians of the earth's most mystical secrets. Every piece of gold jewelry, every gilded crown, and every golden coin carried a trace of Dvalinn's influence. When a craftsman feels a sudden burst of inspiration, they say Dvalinn is whispering the secrets of the sun spinner into their ear. The theme of his life was the mastery over the material, the triumph of spirit over the density of the physical world. He proved that even a creature of the dark can bring forth a light that outshines the sun. His story is a testament to the power of the mystical figures who dwell in the shadows of myth. Dvalinn was not just a dwarf. He was the bridge between the raw power of nature and the refined beauty of art. Through his hands, the earth spoke its most profound truths to those who were willing to listen. As we look at the wonders of the ancient world, we see the fingerprints of masters like Dvalinn everywhere. Their legacy is not in the objects they left behind, but in the standard of excellence they set for all who follow. May we all find our own solar gold and have the courage to forge it into something that brings light to the darkness. For in the heart of every master, the fire of the forge never truly goes out. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the depths of Nidavellir. to witness the mastery of Dvalinn. If you enjoyed the legend of Dvalinn and the secrets of the Dwarven Gold, don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe to Storycraft Studio for more mystical tales.